Hi everybody, welcome along to Get Stuck In. Dan Barber and Martin Dixon alongside me. Plenty coming up in a packed show. We're going to speak to Patrick Mullins about his aeroplanes over the RIC and riding for Gordon Elliott successfully. We're also going to speak to a couple of trainers who've got live chances in the feature race at Cheltenham this Saturday. And for an extra bonus, because it's Cheltenham, we're going to speak to a couple of horses. Yeah, I mean that, genuinely, we will. Right, first up, we've got the big question. El Fabiolo or Jonbon?
Right, well, at the current prices, El Fabiolo is a share of odds on. Jonbon's 11-4. I would rather back Jonbon at 11-4 than El Fabiolo at a share of odds on. Look, I don't think there's a huge amount between them. I know that El Fabiolo kicked Jonbon out of touch in the Arkle last year, but for me, Jonbon in last year's Arkle didn't jump like he can, didn't jump as well as he did when he went to Cheltenham last month. And I think if he puts in a better round of jumping that he is capable of, then he can be more of a match for El Fabiolo than last year's Arkle tells you. And at the current prices, as I say, I would rather be with Jonbon at 11-4.
Jonbon?
Well, revisit, 3 or 4 weeks ago we discussed this, and I'm slightly more shakeable now in my belief that El Fab is still the one. Then it was an even money chance. He's got shorter in the market because the likes of Edwardstone they've basically exited stage right now, haven't they? He's looking at a campaign around the Ryanair probably. I'm just hoping that there's a big upturn from him after the reappearance, which was a bit like Alao's reappearance, more workmanlike than I might have expected, but I don't think the Mullins horses are properly there yet by any means. I mean, Gordon's carrying on before him. Willie's sort of waiting in the wings. I reckon at some point we'll just see a click, and I think if the same El Fabiolo turns up at Cheltenham, he will still be the one to beat. But yeah, I won't lie, Jonbon's work and also the reappearance of El Fab has sort of made my belief in him dim slightly.
Okay. Let us know what your thoughts do. Get in touch with us. Right, the Fighting Fifth took centre stage this weekend at Sandown, rescheduled. Didn't have a massive impact on the Champion Ireland market, surprisingly.
No, I mean, I think above all else, it underlines the point that if you take away one or two of the absolute elite, there's nothing, no depth to it. And we've mentioned it before on this show that there aren't enough elite horses. It's we know that anyway, but it kind of underlines the point when you get rid of one horse and you're left with basically grade 2, grade 3 horses that end up winning your grade 1s. And I think Nicky Henderson gets all of the flack because of he's got that calibre of horse within his yard, and we're so reliant on him running his horses that everybody wants to stick the boot in as soon as he doesn't. So I think there's a bigger issue there. I also think that not enough was made of the potential to stage the Fighting Fifth meeting elsewhere the week before. And I know that John Joe Sanderson at Wetherby stuck his hand up on social media saying, look, we were willing to stage the meeting, we were ready, we were raceable at Wetherby on the same Saturday. So more could have been done to make that happen for me. It's 50 miles away from Newcastle. You know, everyone could have stayed the same.
Or Aintree. When Wetherby came in doubt, why not go to Aintree?
Yeah, or Aintree. I suspect if Aintree had gone ahead, the same would have happened with Constitution Hill, though, to be honest with you, in that, you know, the ground was bottomless and he still wouldn't have turned up, you know, but...
flexibility is not a strength. I'm pretty sure. No. There must be some fundamental things behind the scenes, but I agree, like, in times of crisis, in inverted commas like that, they should have the capacity to be more dynamic, change a race time here. We know they can do it 1 or 2 minutes here and there if it's likely clashes, but the same goes for what we discussed with Aintree and Low Sun, for instance, doesn't it? Be more adaptable.
Well,
at the last minute, if you have to move the race times.
It can happen. Like, they literally stage pretty much every week nowadays. There's a new all-weather fixture on the, say, put on the Tuesday for the Thursday. And they enter on the Tuesday, they declare on the Wednesday, and they run on the Thursday. It happens all the time within the same industry, but it doesn't seem to happen when it matters probably most to keep your programme of top races there. So
I think I speak on the other subject more from like just a pure racing fan's point of view. I want to see Constitution Hill running all the time. I have no sensibilities of what it must take to train a horse of that calibre, what considerations they must have. But we've gone from talk of, oh, this horse could win Ascot Gold Cup, this horse will go chasing, he could go for a Cheltenham Gold Cup, to now maybe seeing him 3 times this season. And I couldn't think of a horse who would seem more impervious to circumstances. He could just turn up every day, this horse, and perform, it seems. He's been absolutely bomb-proof so far. And I go back to the days of other great hurdlers like Isterbrack. He ran 9 times one season. He ran 8 times another. And a jog round at Sandown, however bad the ground was, at 7s on, where he wouldn't be extended against that calibre of opposition. He's up against Not So Sleepy. Think what he did to him in the Fighting Fifth the year before would not, I think, have a huge impact on his chances of performing long odds on again at Kempton on Boxing Day. And also to the point is, why must the Christmas hurdle be the be-all and end-all? Why can't you go the Fighting Fifth as a first port of call, then if he's fine, go again at Kempton? I just want to see him more because I think he's a brilliant horse, and I think that's my regret that we've not seen him yet, and he's got to the new year.
I do agree with that, but as I say, I still think more could have been done to stage it the week before.
I'd agree with that as well.
It
yeah,
got brushed under the carpet, didn't it? That it was all about Sandown on the following Saturday. But to be fair to Nicky Henderson, whatever you make of that decision, at every single point from when Sandown was mentioned, he wasn't absolutely adamant at any point that he would run. You could tell that there was a sort of a little bit of indecision there about whether he would or he wouldn't definitely.
He's shown with Jonbon he will run them regularly. For he ran 6 times as a novice, and he ran again in open company on the final start. But it's this horse being, I don't know, that's sort of the poster boy for National Hunt Racing. And to that end, that tells you your point, they should have done more to bend over backwards, rather than really staging it a track at Sandown, where what is the one thing we associate with that place during the middle of winter? It's always absolutely bottomless, grueling ground.
Up a hill. Okay, thanks to the lads there for their thoughts. Do get in touch as usual and let us know what your thoughts are on Fighting Fifth, etc. as we are going to go around the yards. Right, I'm delighted to be joined by Olly Murphy, top trainer, and enjoying a good run, not just full of horses, but his football team Aston Villa are flying. Who do you want to start with first, Villa or Thunder Rock?
Yeah, we can talk about both, Niall, if you like.
Let's talk about Aston Villa. My dad's a long suffering Aston Villa fan. He's getting a great buzz out of it at the minute. I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely flying, punching above their weight, I think. But yeah, it's been enjoyable going down there the last week. Obviously, beating City and Arsenal, it's been good. Yeah, they're flying.
Do you get a chance to go much? Obviously, this time of year it's trickier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually suited me really well this year playing in Europe. Obviously, Thursdays and Sundays suits pretty well. So yeah, and I've gone down there plenty, and yeah, watching some good football.
Unfortunately, you'll get out of the FA Cup very early because Middlesbrough, you travel the Riverside early generally, so you'll be out of the FA Cup.
Yeah, no, wouldn't surprise me. No, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, you'll meet a proper team. Okay, Thunder Rock could be a proper horse. You're impressed with Carlisle. I think we spoke that day. It was sort of the plan to come here.
Yeah, no, there's been a long-term plan. Obviously, got a little bit more experience in Carlisle. First run in a handicap on Saturday, obviously in a bigger field against more experienced rivals. But he's in good form. Hopefully, he's got a nice mark, and if he gets into rhythm, I think he's got a real nice chance. It's
hard to know 1-4-6, but he could be well treated.
Yeah, it could be. Listen, looking at the form of the Coral Gold Cup now last weekend, the winner obviously beat him in air last year, and we beat the second. So yeah, form's worked out well. First run the handicap, we're looking forward to running him.
Track trip, everything. You're no real excuses at the minute.
No, I don't think so. No, we'll make one of them up after. But yeah, no, he's in good form. He's been trained for the race. He's actually about to gallop now. So hopefully he gallops well and put him spot on for Saturday.
You have a couple in Friday as well. My day go.
Chasing Fires and a novice chase. I'm just kind of waiting to see what Hermes Alan does. I was kind of reading that he might not run. Dan's got Grey Dawning in there as well. So if he's not too far wrong at the weights, he may run. Go Dante's also in a handicap hurdle. He's in good form. Actually ran really well in the Great Wood. He'll either go there or wait for Ascot. But yeah, a couple of entries Friday, Thunder Rock Saturday, and yeah, I hope some nice chances. Yeah, I hope Thunder Rock wins for you. I hope Villa win the league. Well done. Good to speak to you. Top man, thanks, Niall. Right, we're always trying to get a little bit closer to the action, find out how the horses are going in the morning before the big race. And Richard Hobson is on board Fugitif. Let's see his head. Turn your camera around. He looks well. He looks bonny. We're going to send director Dave Orr to have a sit on him, but he's got stuck in traffic. So you're riding him. Tell us, how is he? How does he feel? Do you ride him all the time?
Most days, yeah. Most days. He's in great order. Fresh and well. Come out of his run extremely well. Yeah, looking forward to Saturday now.
He nearly ran too well, or he was just a little bit too enthusiastic. Did you say it that way?
Yeah, I think it was one of those, really. I put, a couple of races at Cheltenham last year. I felt that he sort of not hung left, just edged left, and cost him a length maybe here and there. And I felt that the cheek pieces might just keep him straight, jump in the last, but they just lit him up too much, really.
So will you take them off Saturday? No cheek pieces?
Yeah, they'll take them off. Just hope the jockey doesn't drop him out too far, though. Because he just wants to be behind the leaders, you know. He travels and jumps well. He jumps himself to the front. He was just too lit up after a long summer's break, and he was fresh and too well.
Yeah. Will Gavin Sheehan ride him again?
I hope so. Yeah.
People who are unfamiliar should know you bought Hurricane Fly back in the day. You like to campaign your horses in France, prize money. You're doing well.
Yeah, things are tough at the moment, so we're trying look for opportunities now where there are opportunities, prize money. If that means racing in France, it's been a bit more difficult since Brexit, as you can imagine, all the paperwork. But yeah, like Lord de Menil over in front there, I don't know if you can see him.
He's been a star, hasn't he? Haydock, he'll be back at Haydock in the year?
He runs Friday at Cheltenham in that veterans race. And then from then on, he'll go straight to the final a few weeks later at Sundown, veterans final. It's
perfect for him, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
He's been, I mentioned Haydock because all his best form are a lot of he's run some mighty races there, hasn't he? Winning big pots.
Oh, yes. I mean, he was unlucky not to win 2 Grand National trials. He had a small setback when he was second the year he was second, and he was just unlucky that day to come up against one which was off 10 stone, who just nabbed him on the line. And then he won his Grand National trial, and he's just handicap has not been too fair on him ever since, but he keeps running decent races.
Yeah, let's see Fugitif again. Let's have a look. He looks well. He is primed.
That's Fugitif, and they're the future.
They're the young ones, are they?
They're the young 2-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Richard, great to catch up. I hope he runs a big race for you Saturday. We'll see you soon.
Hopefully. Thanks, Niall.
Okay, good luck to Olly Murphy and Richard Hobson ahead of hopefully live chances in the feature race at Cheltenham on Saturday, as we're going to hopefully, I'm not, they are, give us horses to follow. Who wants to go first?
In terms of, we're not really getting many runners. We're more Constitution Hill than Isterbrook, aren't we? In terms of trying to get them on the course. But your favourite, the GOAT, he's been beaten. Chock-a-Block's been flying the flag. I want to tap into that Chock-a-Block form. A horse who was second to Chock-a-Block in that nip and tuck finish when you and him were at Ludlow. He came out and dotted up the Dian Chief at Market Raise and really strong at the finish, beating a mare who was a pretty good bumper horse who had form with like Dice Artinos and those good mares, Queen's Gamble as well. So I thought the Dian Chief was a likely one for EBF final was the first race that came into my mind for later in the season.
Okay.
2 to put up, Gale Legacy from entry on Saturday. I thought she just got outsteered, but the ground was bottomless, wasn't it? Now, she's a mare by Fleming's Firth. I think you backed her at Market Race, didn't you, earlier on in the season? But she's going the right way. She still travelled like she was very well handicapped, got left behind by a stronger stayer in the end. But I think there's plenty more races to be won with her. Gale Legacy and Ombre de Guerre shaped pretty well for the second time in a maiden hurdle at Ayr on Monday, staying on really well from an impossible position. Probably wants to step up in trip. And I would just mention as well, Artistic Endeavour also ran on Monday, who was in the tracker from about 3 or 4 weeks ago at Cheltenham, and looks really ready for a step up to 2.5 miles. And as soon as he does go up to 2.5 miles, I'd be surprised if he didn't win.
That was a key thing with that race, meaning we're talking about the strength of that Cheltenham form. That Lingfield race yesterday, the first 2 were from that Cheltenham form. My other one would be Keep Running, who ran at Ludlow last week. He's in the category you're not particularly fond of, probably, in terms of grade, but he's got a proper jump in him, and I think if he'd have not missed out the second last at Ludlow, he'd have won. Great Tricks.
Right.
And he's a sort of eager-going, front-running chaser who, I mean, there's somewhere going back to Ludlow would be absolutely fine for him under less testing conditions.
Okay, there's hopefully 4 horses or 5 to keep an eye on in the coming weeks, and hopefully they might be out over the busy festive period. Patrick Mullins will be out over the festive period. Let's catch up with him. Obviously a busy time of year. It's been a fruitful time of year as well. In the saddle, Patrick, you've had a good week.
Had a great week. Had a super week, yeah. So always get winners this time of year. We're a bit quieter on the bumper front at the moment, but got a few hurdle winners, which is always nice, and got an outside winner as well, which is always nice.
Who's a better trainer, Gordon Elliott or Willie Mullins?
Well, yeah, we'll have to. I'd have to ride a few more for Gordon to get a good feel on that.
Yeah, it's nice to ride from, but isn't it?
That was great. Yeah, I rode from one down Royal meeting. I won on Rapid Escape and Felix Deji a couple of years back. I can't remember was Neen or Jamie injured or suspended. So we've had winners before, but I texted him. We had nothing entered in this race, and I happened to breed the horse. His dam was my first ever ride in the racetrack. and she's had 8 foals, 7 runners, 6 of them had won. So this was the only one that hadn't won. So I just thought Gordon could do it a hand, you know.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Talking about your dad's horses, El Fabiolo back in the hilly way. Obviously, it's great to see, the novice season, the Oracle Punches time went well, but summer grass, you just like to see them come back, and he certainly did that.
He did. Look, a few of ours got beaten, and Paris Passe got beaten, Gallup and Champs got beaten. Both ran well, but didn't win. And obviously, this fella was having to give away a lot of weight against some race-fit rivals. So, I think he did exactly what you're hoping to do. He got a little tired after the last, but he was plenty keen all the way. As Paul mentioned, he'd been following Dysart Dynamo around in all his novice chases, so he'd been going a good gallop, and they were going probably a stride slower, and he was plenty fresh. So I think it was exactly what we needed to see. He does have his own way of jumping, but like you saw with him in Cheltenham and at the Fort last in Leopardstown, he seems to know where he's putting his feet. Yeah. So, he has his own way, but he gets away with it. He's a big, strong horse.
Will we see him again at Christmas? Or will that come back quick?
Possibly comes a bit quick. Possibly comes a bit quick. It's only Christmas, only 2 weeks today, so we might wait until the new year. That's why they brought the John Durkin used to always be this meeting as well, and they brought it back. And maybe possibly the Hillyway should be doing something similar, maybe.
Yeah. Chaparral de Sol looked good. Obviously, good in bumpers last year. You had to spin him over hurdles. He looked good the other day.
Yeah, look, he won a point for Colin Bovey and Presley. I thought he won a school bumper with me last year, and I thought he was going to be my champion bumper horse. And he gave me a horrendous ride in Fairy House, very similar to what Fernie Hollow did to me a few years before.
Keen and hanging.
I was coming around the home bend, and I actually got my outside hand and got it onto the bit. I've never had to do that before because I was sure I was going to go straight on. So I don't know why he did that, but we never got him back right after it. He always was kind of looking a bit poor, not working as well as he could. And we kind of got him half right for Cheltenham where he ran well. But we never found a reason. But this year he's come back in, he looks stronger, he's running straighter, and I think he can now fulfill his potential. Yeah,
good stuff. He's getting coached for Albert Bartlett, etc. Do you see him that sort of route?
Yeah, he's not slow. He's not slow. Like I said, we thought he was a champion bumper horse. So, I would keep the Neptune open as an option. I do think he'd be better going left-handed as well. He does lean a little bit left. So, Cheltenham and Leopardstown should suit him well. But I wouldn't be afraid to come back to 2 miles to the metre. He's not a slow horse.
I know you rode him the other day, but is he your ride?
No, it was an amateur maiden hurdle. So
you won't keep him even after winning on him.
Well, look, Paul, if he ends up in one of the grade ones and Paul is riding something else, I wouldn't mind getting back on him, put it that way.
Good stuff. Lots to look forward to, lots to look back on. Thanks for taking the time out. We'll speak to you soon.
Great. Thanks so much, Niall.
Okay, good luck to Patrick Mullins the weekend. He will not be really tuning in. Well, he will be tuning in to Cheltenham, but not as close as these two. If you got a winner for the big race, or where are you going to go for your weekend winners?
I'll start first with probably the strongest I've been on something at this stage. There's an 8 runner at this stage, 8 runners entered for a 2-mile handicap at Cheltenham, and even with 8 in the field, it looks like there's going to be plenty of pace on. Calico second there the other week. You've got Storm Control, who's got one way of going. There's others as well. I thought it set up perfectly for In Excelsius Dio, who was a strong finish in third, finishing with running left behind Triple Trade, who ties in with Calico. It's a strong pace. The field will cut up. I would definitely have him favourite. I said this about City Chief last week. He didn't even make the field. Cheers, Nicky. But he strikes me as a likely, could be plenty of cash for him on the day, and I reckon he'll go a favourite ahead of Calico.
Okay.
I want to mention Traprain Law, who's in the tracker from a few weeks ago, because he's got 2 entries. I've been waiting for him to run. He's got 2 entries, one at Doncaster Saturday and another at Carlisle on Sunday. So I would expect that he's going to run in one of those. He's a horse that did shape really well on his comeback in a strongly run, strong piece of form race at Ayr on his comeback run. So he's going to be interested in Traprain Law. And I think Fakir Doudary will go well in the December Gold Cup as well. He's going to be top weight, but 162 on the back of his best performances a couple of years ago when he won the Clonmel. He was rated 167. He's been banging in grade 1s, grade 2s over the last sort of 3 seasons, really. Fairly significant class drop. I don't think there's a huge amount of up-and-comers necessarily in the entries of the December Gold Cup this year, and I think Fakir Doudary will go very well at a track where he's got a really good record.
Placed on an Arkle on Ryanair.
Yeah.
Second to Allaho, second to... what was his Arkle won by? Put the kettle on, wasn't it? I think won the Arkle, but he kind of shaped really well. Anyway, he's got a really good record at Cheltenham, and I think 162 on his best form isn't a mark that's insurmountable for him.
Recurring theme, green and gold. So I reckon JP's going to win that, and whether it's with Fake Didery or not, I wonder if So Scottish was very interesting. There's that one piece of form from Ascot last season. Boot Hill in his element, he developed into a nearly 162 miler, and So Scottish running over the wrong trip pushed him really close. He's had a tune-up run to get him spot on for it. It's Emmett Mullins, it's JP. Again, I suspect we might see a lively market move for him, and Emmett showed, didn't he, with the ill-fated Slate Lane, that there's not many better when it comes to just targeting a big handicap pot with a horse on these shows.
Yeah, okay. There's hopefully our winners for this weekend. We'll be back next week with a Christmas special and a very special guest. He's got a beard. Do join us then. In the meantime, have a good weekend.